Hey, welcome back to my recap channel. Today we will look at an Italian fantasy superhero movie titled The Invisible Boy. Ahead are spoilers, be careful and watch out. The story opens up as we see an Italian boy named Michele Silenzi riding his bike to school. He has a €50 bill that he wants to spend on a costume for a party. At school he sits behind Stella, the girl he has liked for a long time. A police officer named Giovanna walks into their class. Giovanna is also Michele's mother. She is there to find out what happened to a student. Giovanna tells the class that if they hear from the missing student, they should call the police. Michele's nose starts to bleed after she leaves, so he runs to the bathroom. His bullies have been bothering him for a long time, and now they are trying to force him to give them all his money. He feels terrible about what happened and goes home. He pulls out some pennies he had saved and decides to use them to buy one. Then Michele goes to a store that looks old and rusty and asks for a superhero costume. The shopkeeper gives him an all-in-one outfit that is too tight and has a lousy cape. He says it is a Chinese superhero costume. Even though Michele doesn't like the costume, she buys it anyway. When Giovanna gets home from work, she sees Michele in his costume, saying he doesn't want to go to the party because he thinks he looks stupid. She tells him he looks fine and sends him off to the party. There, Michele has fun and even talks to Stella, the girl he likes. Then, though, his tormentors show him a video of Stella walking down the street. They say that the video was found on Michele's phone and that he has been following Stella. Michele feels terrible and runs to the bathroom where he locks himself in. All of his classmates knock on the door and ask him to open it from the outside. Right before the lights go out, Michele is angry and wishes he was invisible. In the next scene, he jumps out of the window in the bathroom and goes back home. When Michele wakes up the following day, his dog barks at him. He doesn't pay much attention to him and goes to brush his teeth in the bathroom. Michele is shocked beyond belief when he looks in the mirror and sees only his robe and the brush. The mirror doesn't show his body. Michele runs out of the house and takes off his robe. Just then, his mother walks in and ignores the boy completely. This shows that only Michele can see himself. When she starts to look around, Michele quickly writes on a piece of paper that he went to school early and puts it on the bed. Giovanna reads it and puts the matter out of her mind. She calls Michele on his phone after leaving the room. It is picked up by an invisible Michele, who tells her he is fine. He dresses in long-sleeve clothes because he doesn't know what to do next. After he is completely covered, he goes to school and watches Stella from a distance. Then Michele sees his bully and teaches him a lesson for being so mean to him. He takes off his clothes and walks into school without being seen. During class, he takes the bully's paintball gun and uses it on the teacher, which causes the teacher to suspend the bully. Then Michele goes to the girls' room and watches them take off their clothes. Suddenly, a towel falls on him, revealing his shape to everyone. His powers start to go away so that he can be seen again. When the girls look under the towel and see Michele naked, they scream. The next day, Michele is in his class. Basili, a psychologist, is giving a talk about how teens' minds work. Two of Michele's classmates have run away from home in the past month, so he thinks it's essential to understand how teens think. As Michele listens to the lesson, his hands begin to glow and then suddenly they vanish. He runs out of the class before anyone can see him go. He runs home and covers himself from head to toe. He finds his little sister Candela is in his room when he gets there. While facing the wall, Michele tells her to go downstairs. Candela, who is suspicious, opens and shuts the door to make it look like she has left. Michele doesn't turn around to see if anyone is watching and starts taking off his clothes. When he turns around, Candela screams out of fear because she can't see her brother. Michele tries to make her feel better by telling her that his costume gives him superpowers. At the same time, the psychiatrist Basili is working with Giovanna at the police station to find the missing children. Giovanna is sure that the kids might have been taken, but Basili says they are just acting like kids their age, which is normal. Michele is still not there when Giovanna gets home. Giovanna talks to someone on the phone and tells them that someone else gave her Michele. Michele walks out of the house to a nearby swing, hurt and shocked. While he's on the swing, Stella gets there. She thinks that Michele is a ghost. She doesn't seem scared though, because she asks him to be her friend. He draws a face with a smile on the sand to talk to her. They agree to get together again. After Stella leaves, Michele notices that a man who can't be seen is staring at him. The blind man walks away with a stick, showing that he can't see. Michele goes over to Stella's house at night. Stella is happy to have made an invisible friend. They kiss, but Michele's powers start to go away as soon as they do. Before Stella can see him, he runs away. Later, Stella is in her gymnastics class when a needle pierces her back. It makes her fall asleep. On the other hand, Michele has decided to tell Stella he is the boy who can't be seen. He brings his dog with him to her gymnastics class. When he gets there, he sees a man in a mask carrying Stella. Michele attacks the man and the dog bites the man's hand. The male does, however, succeed in getting away with the girl. The police eventually show up on the scene. They believe the missing kids weren't escaping, instead they were being abducted. Stella awakens in an unfamiliar facility where her head is wired up in numerous places. She is being questioned by psychiatrist Basili there. It turns out that he is the one responsible for abducting the kids. The girl is given specific tests before being placed in jail. 2 of her other buddies had also vanished prior to her. The blind man from the previous day unexpectedly materializes in front of Michele the next day when he is alone at a nearby beach. Before Michele can pose any questions, the man responds to all of them. He appears to be able to read thoughts. The man confesses his name is Andrzej and that he is Michele's father when Michele asks who he is. The youngster accuses Andrzej of lying since he doesn't believe him. Then Andrzej starts to relate his tale. Before a catastrophic nuclear explosion struck the community, he was a regular man from a tiny Russian village. Many people were killed by the radiation, while others had irreversible changes caused to them. It led to a mutation in their DNA that gave them special superhuman skills like flight, telepathy, invisibility, and other things. These individuals, known as the Specials, were taken to a military base known as the Division and used as weapons. They were used to the limit by the Division. These specialties became weaker the more power they expended. Everyone except for Andrzej and Michele's mother was sterile, which was a further negative consequence. Therefore, it was impossible to breed new specialties. Michele, the first child with special needs, was conceived by the 2. But they whisked him away as soon as he was born. The parents successfully fled with Michele after deciding to do so. However, the members of the Division were not going to yield. To get the couple to return the child, they went after them. While Michele's mother could become invisible, his father could read people's minds. Although Andrzej and Michele escaped, his wife was slain by the Division. Andrzej read Michele's mind and determined she was a wonderful person, but he knew she wouldn't be sure with him, so he placed him in front of Giovanna's door. The fact that the exceptional child resides in the town is now known to the residents of the Division. Therefore, they abduct kids and test them to discover if they have extraordinary abilities. Michele is astounded to learn his true origin. He nearly doesn't believe it when Andrzej says that the fisherman beside them has reported them to the police because he feels Andrzej is suspicious. Michele receives a suit from Andrzej that vanishes with him. He then erases the memory of the fisherman and walks away. Basili and the police arrive quickly. When Giovanna tells him that Michele is an adopted child, Basili thinks he might be exceptional. He says he'll drive Michele home. When they go home, Michele sees Basili's hand injury, which is right where his dog bit the kidnapper of Stella. He tries to flee while giving the man a dubious look. It turns out that Basili is planning to kidnap him and has barred every door. Running into a room, Michele strips off his clothing and vanishes. While Basili chases after him, he succeeds in escaping. Michele notices his bully Ivan on his bike as they walk down the street. He sits behind him and requests that he go right immediately. Ivan, who is uneasy, agrees. When they get to a secure location, Michele makes himself known to Ivan and tells him everything about the kidnapping of their classmates. Stella and her friends can see vents on the ceiling in the background. Stella can exit by climbing on top of them. She climbs a tower to reach a searching light while evading guards. She draws a smile on the light and flashes it to the sky, thinking that her invisible buddy is searching for her. When Michele notices the happy expressions, she realizes Stella is trying to make a hint about them. He and Ivan pursue the light, but the guards see Stella as soon as they arrive. As an invisible, Michele enters. Ivan uses his paintball rifle to trigger an electric malfunction. He observes Giovanna and Andrzej, who have teamed up to search for Michele, being watched by Basili and his men. He then continues and kills a guard. He threatens the other guard with his gun to let Stella and the others out of the cell by opening it. Michele surprises his companions by revealing himself after he has freed them and cornered the guards inside. The boys want to go, but Stella persuades them to help an elderly guy she saw imprisoned in a different chamber. When she and Michele arrive to save the victim, Stella brings him to the bad guys instead and threatens Michele with a gun. The elderly man behind her begins to speak as she abruptly passes out. It transpires that he possesses the capacity for mind control. To bring Michele here, he has been manipulating Basili and Stella. Then he sends Michele and Stella into a submarine he has just brought down. The two are taken into the sea by the men. Andrzej and Giovanna arrive at the location right then and there to greet Ivan. In a few seconds, the building will detonate. Basili is immediately rescued from inside along with the two kidnapped children. As Andrzej reads Basili's thoughts, he realizes someone was in charge of him. They leave the building swiftly, then it explodes and is torn to bits. Michele discovers his telekinesis ability while inside the submersible and begins destroying everything. He kills the men with his abilities, preserving both Stella and himself. They finally return to the shore where a large crowd is waiting for them. Michele displays his power by becoming invisible in front of them. Andrzej informs Michele that they must erase everyone's memories since the division would seek them out again. Stella accepts Michele's request and they share one final kiss. After wiping out everyone's memories, Andrzej promises Michele he will return and departs. Then everyone resumes living their regular lives. Somewhere in Russia is shown in the scene clipped. The encounter left Michele's mother, who was presumed dead, only slightly injured. Back then, she had won the division and now controls it. She was the one who dispatched those individuals to bring Michele back to her. She opposes all the regular people who treat them like freaks. Finally, a guard tells her that even though they lost Michele, they have discovered Natasha, his twin sister. We can see from a flashback that Andrzej fled that day with 2 kids. The guard concludes the film by telling Michele's mother that Natasha is somewhere in Morocco, giving away the possibility of a follow-up. To support the channel, switch on notifications, subscribe for more content like this, and leave a like. We really appreciate it.